Welcome to BookBuzz Reviews and Summaries. Have you ever felt like you were meant for more, but somehow that more keeps slipping through your fingers? You work hard, you care deeply, you strive to do the right thing, but still, something within you whispers, "Why am I not further ahead? Why does life feel like I'm constantly walking in circles?" You're not lazy, you're not broken, you're not destined to remain stuck, but you are carrying something invisible, something powerful, a set of silent saboteurs, habits and patterns so deeply woven into your thoughts and behaviors that you've mistaken them for truth. This book is not about blame. It's not about judgment. It's about awakening. Awakening to the reality that good people, people just like you, often unconsciously repeat self-defeating patterns that keep them from rising to the life they were born to leave. And what makes it more tragic is that these patterns don't look like enemies. They look like overthinking, perfectionism, people-pleasing, playing small, being too nice. Sound familiar, but here's the good news. You are not your habits. You are not your past. You are not the voice in your head that says, "This is just the way I am." Beneath the weight of your conditioning, your fears, and your false limitations, there exists a deeper self, calm, radiant, alive with purpose. Eckhart Tolle calls it your true essence, the part of you that doesn't become, but simply is, and it's waiting right now to be awakened. This is your invitation, not to change who you are, but to uncover who you've always been, not to chase success, but to step into freedom. Not to escape your life, but to transform it from within. You don't need more time, more talent, or more hustle. What you need is the courage to let go of what no longer serves you, and the vision to step into the life that does. Are you ready? Because this journey, this awakening, begins now. Part 1. The Flow of Awakening. The Beginning of Transformation. Chapter 1. The Flowering of Human Consciousness. Tolle begins with a simple but powerful metaphor. The flower, at one point in time, the first flower ever bloomed on Earth, an act of transformation in nature. He draws a parallel between that botanical shift and the next stage of human consciousness. Just like flowers once stunned the planet with unexpected beauty, human beings are now at the edge of an evolutionary leap, waking up from unconscious living. But what does awakening mean here? It means realizing that we are not just the noise in our heads. We're not just our past, our pain, or our possessions, and for that awakening to happen, the ego, the false self we identify with, has to be seen clearly, perhaps for the first time. Tolle isn't offering self-help tips or motivational fluff. He's offering a deep invitation to transformation. But first, we need to understand what's keeping us asleep: the egoic mind. Chapter 2. Ego. The current state of humanity. In this chapter, Tolle begins to dig deep into the true antagonist of our story, the ego. So what is ego? Really, it's not just arrogance or pride. It's a false sense of self. It's the voice in your head that says, "I am what I have. I am what I do. I am what others think of me." It's the internal narrator that constantly compares, competes, judges, and separates. It feeds on identity, whether that's your nationality, political views, career status, or even your wounds. And here's the punchline: the ego doesn't care if your identity is positive or negative. It only cares that you're attached to it. Even victimhood can become ego, the identity of being wronged, of suffering, of never being enough. Tolle writes, complaining is one of the ego's favorite strategies for strengthening itself. That hits hard because we all do it, but every complaint, every grudge, every story of why I'm not okay, it's fuel for the ego. And while we think these things protect us, they actually keep us trapped in unconscious patterns, always looking outside ourselves for fulfillment. The shift from ego to awareness. Tolle isn't asking us to fight the ego. In fact, the ego loves a good fight. Instead, he calls us to witness it, to become aware of the ego without judgment. This is the first spark of awakening. Once we see our identification with thought, with roles, with the need to be right, a gap opens up, a quiet space. That space is consciousness itself. It's the beginning of freedom. Tolle introduces this life-changing idea. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness behind them. Imagine how revolutionary that is. If we're not our thoughts, then who are we? And what else is possible? Seeds of transformation. Part 1 of this journey plants the seeds of everything to come. The world is in turmoil not because people are evil, but because most are trapped in egoic consciousness. Our suffering, personal and collective, is rooted in our identification with form, story, and thought. Awakening is not something mystical or elite. It is a natural evolution that begins the moment we realize we've been asleep. And here's the thrilling part. This shift doesn't require you to do anything dramatic. You don't need to quit your job, move to a monastery, or change your life overnight. All you need is to begin to notice. Every moment of awareness cracks the shell of ego a little more, and every crack is a light shining through. Part 2. The Ego in Disguise. Unmasking the False Self. Chapter 3. The Core of the Ego. In Part 1, we open the curtain on the ego, that insatiable false self that thrives on identity, separation, and survival. In Chapter 3, Eckhart Tolle walks us straight into the heart of the ego, and what do we find there? Two driving forces, wanting and fear. Think about this. The ego is never satisfied. It constantly says, when I get this, then I'll be happy. But even when you get what you want, the job, the house, the partner, the recognition, there's an itch that remains, a sense of something is still missing. That's the ego's trick. It uses desire to hook you and fear to keep you stuck. Tolle writes, ego is always in a state of fear because it's a false self that knows its own fragility. Even your daily interactions can reveal the ego's presence. If you get offended easily, feel the need to win arguments, or take things personally, you're operating from ego. It sees threats everywhere and reacts with defensiveness, blame, or superiority. But once you see this pattern, you can begin to disrupt it. Tolle's suggestion, observe your reactions. Instead of saying, this is who I am, say, that's the ego reacting. That little bit of space is awareness, and awareness undoes the ego, piece by piece. Chapter 4. Role-playing, the many faces of the ego. Now that we've seen the ego's emotional core, Tolle starts peeling back its social masks. In Chapter 4, he reveals how ego hides in the roles we play. Roles so convincing that we often mistake them for who we are. You might be playing the role of the good parent, the achiever, the rebel, the victim, the helper, or even the spiritual one. The problem isn't the role itself, it's identifying with it. When you believe the role is you become rigid, reactive, and unable to grow. You lose your authentic self under layers of performance, Tolle explains. Whenever you are completely identified with a role, you confuse a pattern of behavior with who you are. For instance, maybe you're in a leadership position and the role gives you status and control, but if you identify with that too tightly, any challenge or feedback feels like a personal attack. Or maybe you identify with being the helper. So you feel anxious when you're not needed, or angry when people don't appreciate your sacrifices. Even something as subtle as being the smart one or the funny one can become a prison. This is why Tolle invites us to hold our roles lightly, do what needs to be done, but stay rooted in awareness, not identity. You're not the role, you're the space in which the role plays out, the pain body. Ego's shadow twin preview. As we transition toward the next chapters, Tolle gives us a taste of one of the most powerful ideas in the book, the pain body. This is the emotional echo chamber of old wounds, grief, anger, and trauma. It's ego's fuel source, and when triggered, it takes over completely. You say things you regret, you lash out or spiral inward. The pain body feeds on drama, and if you're unaware of it, it will run your life. But don't worry, that monster has a weakness, and it's consciousness. Part 3. The pain body awakens, breaking the cycle of emotional suffering. Chapter 5. The pain body, the emotional shadow. Let's start with a gut punch of truth. Many people leave with a dormant volcano inside them. It erupts when triggered. A sudden rage, deep sorrow, overwhelming anxiety. That's the pain body. According to Eckhart Tolle, the pain body is one of the ego's most powerful and insidious tools, a residual emotional energy field living inside us, composed of old pain we've accumulated but never fully processed. It's made of heartbreak, trauma, rejection, anger, shame, grief, yours and even some Passed down through generations, it lies dormant until something triggers it, a tone of voice, a rejection, a memory, and then, boom, you're not you anymore. The pain body takes over and feeds on more pain, yours or someone else's. Have you ever had an overreaction that felt possessive, like you were watching yourself explode but couldn't stop it? That was your pain body at the wheel, feeding the pain body. Here's the eerie truth. The pain body wants to suffer. It's addicted to emotional pain because it feeds the ego. When you're angry, self-pitying, reactive, or victimized, you're strengthening your false identity, Tolle explains. The pain body is an addiction to unhappiness. It loves conflict. It will pick fights in your relationships. It will sabotage your peace. It whispers, "You always get treated this way," or "No one really cares," or "You'll never be enough." And we often unconsciously identify with it. We say, "I am depressed," or "I am broken," but those are not your truths. They are temporary states of the pain body. The moment you observe them, without judgment, they begin to lose power. How to dissolve the pain body? You don't defeat the pain body with more pain, or by suppressing it. The way out is surprisingly simple, though not always easy. Presence. When the pain body activates, Tolle says, don't resist it, don't run from it, don't fight it, just watch it. Sit with the emotion like a curious observer. Feel the energy without attaching to the story behind it. This awareness creates a space, a crack in the cycle, and in that space, the pain body begins to starve. It can't survive when it's being watched by consciousness. This is where true healing happens, not by changing the past, but by being present with what is. Where there's awareness, there is transformation. Chapter 6. Breaking Free, Being versus Thinking. With the pain body now in view, Tolle shifts focus toward liberation. In Chapter 6, he dives into the contrast between being and thinking. Most of us are stuck in compulsive thinking, a constant stream of commentary, planning, worrying, replaying, but we rarely ask, who is the one noticing these thoughts? That's where being comes in. Being is the state of presence underneath the noise. It's the quiet aliveness behind your breath, the stillness when you're fully immersed in a moment. Watching a sunset, listening to music, feeling the wind. It's peaceful, expansive, and still. It's what Tolle calls your natural state. But here's the catch. The ego doesn't want you to stay there. It wants you thinking, judging, narrating, because thinking reinforces identity. So, how do you return to being? Start by noticing your breath. Observe your surroundings without labeling them. Listen deeply, not just to words, but to the space between them. Be present in your body. Feel your hands, your feet, your heartbeat. These are doorways to consciousness, and the more time you spend there, the less grip the ego and pain body have over you, becoming a space holder. In a world full of reactivity and noise, you can become a space holder, someone who carries calm, presence, and awareness into chaotic situations. You don't need to preach or fix everyone. Your presence is enough. When someone else's pain body lashes out, you don't react. You witness, and that alone can shift the energy in a room. That is power, not control, not dominance, but stillness. Tolle reminds us, you are the light of the world. Once you recognize your true essence beyond form. Part 4. Embodying Awakening, Creating a New Earth from Within. Chapter 7. Finding Who You Truly Are. Eckhart begins the final stretch with a message that's as simple as it is revolutionary. You are not your thoughts, you are not your roles, you are not your story, you are the awareness beneath it all. Once you've seen the ego for what it is and learned to sit with the pain body without feeding it, what's left? Your true self, the formless presence, pure consciousness, eternal being. This chapter asks you to step out of your mental labels and sense yourself beyond name, job, personality, or past. You're not the story you've been telling yourself. You are what's aware of that story. Tolle emphasizes something vital. Awakening doesn't mean becoming more. It means becoming less, until all that remains is the essence of who you really are, he says. To know yourself as the being underneath the thinker, the stillness underneath the mental noise, the love and joy underneath the pain, is freedom. Freedom, not from life, but from the illusion of self that has kept us asleep. Chapter 8. The Discovery of Inner Space. This chapter is about the power of inner spaciousness and how it becomes a source of transformation for every area of life. Tolle introduces the concept of creating space in your inner and outer life. That means not reacting instantly. It means pausing. It means letting go of the compulsive urge to fill every silence, every void, with something. Imagine bringing silence into a heated conversation, or taking a moment of stillness before replying to criticism. That's the space he's talking about. Space between stimulus and response, between thought and action. Why does this matter? Because in that space, consciousness lives. It's where wisdom, compassion, and creativity come from, and it allows you to move through life with grace, rather than resistance. This spaciousness is what separates awakened action from egoic reaction. When you become comfortable with not knowing, something greater than the mind opens up. Chapter 9. Your Inner Purpose and Outer Purpose. Now, let's talk purpose. This chapter is a game changer. Tolle breaks it down into two layers. 1. Inner purpose. This is the same for everyone. To awaken, to leave in presence, to dissolve the ego. That's the foundation. 2. Outer purpose. This is your individual path, your work, relationships, projects, service. But here's the twist. Your outer purpose is only truly powerful when it flows from your inner purpose. That means your career doesn't define your worth. Your achievements don't complete you, but when you approach them with awareness, without egoic attachment, they become vessels for consciousness to move through the world. So whether you're a teacher, artist, parent, engineer, or barista, if you're present, you're doing your real work. You're participating in the birth of a new earth. Awakened doing is the alignment of your outer purpose with your inner purpose. Chapter 10. A New Earth. And now, the vision expands. This isn't just about you. It's about us. A collective shift in consciousness, one awakened human at a time, is what Tolle calls the flowering of human consciousness. We're at a tipping point. The old patterns of greed, division, violence, and egoic control have brought us to the edge, socially, politically, environmentally. But here's the hope. A new heaven is the awakened consciousness. A new earth is its reflection in the physical realm. Every time you choose presence over reactivity, every time you dissolve the pain body rather than act it out, every time you meet someone with compassion instead of judgment, you're not just changing your life, you're changing the field. You're lighting a small spark that others can feel. The new earth isn't a fantasy. It's here, in every conscious moment we choose. Final reflection. How to leave this book. So where does all this leave us? Tolle doesn't want you to worship his words or turn this book into another belief system. Instead, he invites you to practice presence every single day. Notice the ego and don't feed it. Feel the pain body and don't become it. Create space in your thoughts, words, and actions. Let go of the story and step into being. Bring consciousness into whatever you do. Whether you're making coffee or having a hard conversation, this isn't about escaping the world. It's about becoming more deeply engaged with it, from a place of stillness and strength. Because when you awaken, really awaken, you don't just leave life. You radiate it. And that, friends, is how we create a new earth, one presence-filled breath at a time. Read the book to learn more. Thanks for listening to Book Buzz reviews and summaries.